Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to the Last Epoch dev stream. As always, I'm your host, Mike. How's it going, everybody? How you doing? What's going on? Hanging out? Playing a little Epoch? If this is your first time here, please feel free to ask questions of me about our lovely game here. I'll be happy to answer them. Right now, I'm just going to keep playing my lovely Squirrelmancer. Whatever we're calling it these days. Hello, everybody. Good day, quiet. I don't have any weekend plans, really. No. Gonna go on a nice little local hike with the wee one. Should do that every weekend. Let's get my fingers back into form for this build. Been playing a marksman in testing recently. Gotta remember what I'm doing. And as always, we are streaming for charity, so all of the cash we get in goes directly to them. Right now, it is the MS Society. We're pretty cool. Yeah, and if you got questions for me, please toss an @Last Epoch game in the question, and I will see it a lot easier. Yeah. How's everybody's week going? I don't know, I'm picking these weapons up. I don't really need them. We started another round of testing today, which is great. I also have some construction going on here. Well, construction. Finishing up building a fence. So if anyone hears loud, like, grinding or drilling, let me know. Yeah, feeling good. I really like this build. So I only play it on stream, but like, I don't know, it's a ton of fun. Just the squirrels everywhere, the swarm. It's nice. I'm missing so we've got the counter. I say this every week. I see this build because we got the counter that doesn't cap at 15 anymore for the number of ailments on targets, and I miss it a lot every time I come back to the live build. And I guess I should go through. We had a little raid here before we started. Vision, welcome everyone from Vision Stream, and also thank you Arrow Weird for a resub, 7-month resub. Awesome. Hello, Trickster. Normally I have a plethora of questions, but due to long content downtime, I'm sorry. It'll be worth the wait, I promise. Without teasers, I can't ask anything. It's my long-winded way of saying asking for teasers. Oh, I see how it is. I've got a couple little things for you today. I'm not throwing out this early, but I'll have some stuff to share in a little bit. Let me keep going through this monolith a little bit. I forgot again. I was gonna get all the waypoints on this character to be able to do some other stuff, and I forgot to get the waypoints, unfortunately. This. Oh, that's nice. It's my vine. Just trying to type my vine. Speaking of ailments, any info you can tease us about the ailment rework? Not really. We haven't really done anything since last week on it. Been working on a lot of multiplayer stuff. I've been working on arenas. We've been working on monolith improvements for multiplayer and everything. Don't we have anything big for the ailment rework much other than what I already talked about? Honestly, I can't remember everything that goes into it right now. But it's less of like, it's not like every single ailment's getting changes to it type thing. It's more of just we're adding a few new things we can do with ailments. And then we'll be looking at, and I already explained what those were. It was like the threshold bonuses for elements. And it's more like we got the tech working, so then we'll start doing the design stuff after that. Whee! Hi, Singing Games TV. How's it going? Found you guys on Ziz interview. It was great. Thanks to the game and the transparency. You're welcome. Hope you're having fun and enjoying it. You can tease us that Morditus is secretly the Emperor. There's I love all of the like story speculations that come out. I think they're absolutely wonderful. I love reading them. I've definitely more than once seen something where I was like, I think that's actually what's gonna happen. Like just random speculations, which was pretty funny. And I try and write it down when that happens, so I can like, if someone calls something really far ahead of time, so I can shout it out. I don't remember who they were. I'm sorry. And we've had a few on stream though, for various things. Kind of just going off on the monolith right now. Laura question: the NPC you teased a couple weeks back, given her outfit design, is she from the north like the Primalist from Herebora by chance? I have no idea. Let's see if Mr. Lore Master's online. I'll ask him. Where is he? Where are you hiding, bud? I love this track. Where are you? There you are. I just asked him. I'll get back to you. If multiplayer is not coming in September, why did you increase the cycle period to 6 months? So I just want to be clear. The news around the water cooler of there's a patch coming in September is very misleading. And if anyone sees this, please remind them that we've never said that the patch is definitely coming in September. At least I don't think we did. If we did, it was a mistake. There's no guaranteed plans on when the patch is coming. But basically, we just need time to be able to work on getting multiplayer and all the other features ready for the game out faster. Every time we do a patch, it delays our development time quite a bit because it takes a lot of us a lot of time to push out a patch. So every time we push out a patch, we lose some amount of time. It's hard to quantify really, but it's probably a couple weeks. And we are getting kind of close to launch, and we can see the light at the end of the tunnel, and we've got to we've got to get there as soon as possible. So every day that we push back is going to cost us, and so yeah, it's not having an extra patch in there is going to help speed us up quite a bit. There's something that happens just with it's just context switching in general. And I know I talked about this last time with I went on a tangent about Jeopardy about it, but every time you change what you're doing, it takes you a bit of time to readjust to get back into what you were doing. It slows you down. It's even worse with game development, probably any sort of software development where there's multiple branches. So just physically switching from the it's hard to explain. If you understand how Git works, this is really easy to explain. But it's every time you switch sort of the state of your development environment, it can take half an hour sometimes if it's a big change. So going from the you're working on multiplayer, you're working on creating new content for that's not going to be in the next patch, to working on the content that is going to be in the next patch. Like, just that switch from a like what your computer can do, like, you lose a bunch of time there, just that switch. So you can't really bounce back and forth, so you kind of have to dedicate yourself to one or the other. Oh my goodness, it is hot in here. I am realizing that closing the window may have been a mistake. So it's basically, the reason is we just need to get to launch faster, and this is going to help us get to launch faster. Do you think we'll ever get tools to get a sense of what the meta is like in terms of skill item usage? Is it something that needs server hosted saves to work? Yeah, pretty well. Like, so we do have a little bit of that right now already with just the ladder. You can go look at the ladder and see what skills are being used. And I know it's not perfect and everything, yada yada yada, but there is already a touch of that, and I think let's go for that experience one. I think that'll get better as we go forward, just with the quality of the ladder improving in general. I'd like to see some sort of, like, I don't know, build share system built into the game. But it's also important to have like these third-party websites where people can do things on are going to exist and have really good tools for it as well. So it's like there's there already is Last Epoch tools that has a lot of that information on it. They do a really good job of displaying it too. So I don't know if we'll have a built-in system for that or not. Probably not at launch, at least. But who knows what'll happen eventually. And I just heard back from Mr. Loremaster. Keeperlina is not from Hiboria. It's one of the smaller unseen villages that pepper the central part of Eterra, not too far from the Temple of Eterra. She was an orphan taken by Keeper Balthus when he was passing through helping said smaller villages. Yeah. And I just asked him as well if he'd be willing to do a to hop and stream with me sometime to do a little lore focused stream, so to speak, and he said he'd be interested. So good news there. So I know that's been requested a few times. So does anyone need to write anything down for you? For... Oh, no. I've been noticing while looking and watching this game that mobs are spaced out more than your average hack and slash. You plan on ramping up density at all? I mean, so yes and no, kind of both. I'd say overall yes. So like, when we get that question like at all, like yeah, I mean you can say yes to that pretty easily and add one mob to the entire game. Typically density's increased, right? Anyways, yeah, probably. There was a bug, I don't know if it was fixed or not, on live. I know we fixed it locally, where sometimes the random mob spawners can basically put fewer enemies than they should in a map. There's basically no minimum number of enemies, so sometimes you get, while the average density is pretty decent, sometimes you get maps where there's like really few, and those ones tend to stick out a lot. It is generally intentional that there is lower density than some other ARPGs like Diablo 3 and Path of Exile. That's very intentional. We also were having quite a few performance issues with high density mobs, and we've been improving performance quite a bit as well. So there's more room to add more in, but just because we can doesn't mean we're gonna make it like quite as dense as some of the more extreme cases available to compare it to. Don't want that. I don't think. Yeah, I don't want that. Oh, don't forget to put at Last Epoch game, and I will answer your question. But I saw this one. One question: would you consider putting 2 versions of the same skill in your bar with different specs? For example, having 1 fireball spec to single target, 1 with AoE at the same time. This is a question that comes up every couple months or so. I see it on something. The short answer is probably not. I mean, we have considered it in the past. And we decided against it. Short answer. While it is technically probably possible for us to make it work, there's a lot of back-end changes that would have to happen to make that possible. Just the way everything was set up. It was set up with the assumption that you'd only ever be able to have 1 specialized at a time. And so we would have to like really want to do it to make a change that big. I know it seems like a small change, like, oh, just let me put 2 up here, just let me put 10 down there, and call it a day. The way it's built in the back end, it would require humongous changes, like the whole casting system, the whole animation system, the whole the sound system, the VFX system, the way skills are networked would have to change. Like so much would have to change. Like that's not even including the mutators, the way like the skills are set up, and like the skill assets themselves would have to change. Like so much. The tooltip system would have to change. And like pretty significant changes in some cases. I know I'm missing stuff too. Like it's a shockingly huge amount of changes that would be needed for that. And at the same time, we're less interested in doing the change anyways, so probably not. Alright, next question. I hope that you will continue streaming even after official launch of version 1.0 and keep it up for years to come even after that. I mean, I'd love to. I have a ton of fun doing this. And I don't see why not, really. I could see us switching to like every other week or something, or maybe, I don't know, just being less strict, because I think I've only missed like 3 or 4 of these since we started this back up again a couple years ago. So I might be a little less vigilant, so to speak. But no, I have a ton of fun doing this, and I really like it. And I think it's really healthy for the game as a whole as well. So I'm glad you like it. Some water here. Drink lots of water. It's important. You'll feel better. Yeah, I think you said patch was coming like in September-ish. Yeah, I think what I said was sometime September-ish or in around there, give or take some, roughly, or something like that. And we know it's a big gap. We know we've conditioned everyone to expect pretty frequent updates from us, which is great, and we would really like to continue that, and we will continue that post-launch. It's just there's this humongous hurdle we have to get over, and until we get over it, nothing else really matters. And a lot of it has to do with how many different roles a lot of us that work on the basically everyone plays. So like some of the people who do who work on like multiplayer architecting and back-end systems, stuff like that, are also like doing design work, and a lot of that stems from us starting as just a few people and everyone wearing a bajillion hats. But there's a lot more people now. But you get your fingers so far into so many systems that it's hard to hand them off sometimes. So I know it sucks, and I know everyone would like a patch much sooner, but I promise it'll be worth the wait. Do any of the devs feel like a meta posting is bad for the game because it makes things feel stale? No. Okay. Oh, welcome everyone from Lizard Stream. Come on down. I'm sure none of you have ever heard of this game before. Glad to have you with us, everybody. Big. I love this weapon. Just gonna take a second here. What am I doing? I just love that it's just a giant bone. Yeah. Love it. That's one of my favorite, if not my favorite weapon base in the game, I think. Okay, do any of the devs feel like meta posting is bad for the game because it makes things feel stale? Do you mean like just having a build meta, like, oh, like Fireball is really strong, so so many people play Fireball? I think it's when you get extreme concentration meta, it can be a little negative, and usually it takes quite a while to happen, or very clear benchmarking systems to happen, and that's part of the reason why we don't have super clear benchmarking systems in the game. Because like I think you can end up with like that's why I say long periods of time, because I'm going to use an example that doesn't have clear benchmarking systems. But so Diablo 2 has, and I know a lot just happened with the recent patch, but up until that point, with the like 10-year gap in any content change, it was really obvious what the best builds were, for sure. And it was really hard to innovate and come up with something new or play something that was off the beaten path and still really enjoy it, because most people like to feel powerful, and if you feel like you're doing significantly less damage than the meta builds, it can take away from not the meta build because you don't feel powerful enough. Maybe you played another meta build, or you see other people playing the meta builds online, and you can tell like, oh, they're better, because they just become meta because they do things better, faster, stronger, so to speak. And so I think it can hurt a game to some degree, but at the same time, I think it can help as well. So there's this nice sweet spot of balance between too much meta information and not enough meta information. It'll be interesting to see if we can hit that. Interesting. Thanks to Lore Share. You're welcome. Oh yeah, that was Kyle. Yeah. Right. How's the build going? It's going great. I love it. I need waypoints because I need to make this into an actual legendary. But other than that, it's going great. Better hurry up before Diablo 4 releases, or you could be dead at launch. Diablo 4 will make quite a large splash. I don't think that there's only room for one game, or even only two games, so to speak, in the market. I think there's lots of room for people to play and enjoy multiple games. And I think Diablo 4 is going to bring a large batch of people who are not necessarily like avid ARPG players, and welcome them to the genre. So it might actually help us, who knows. It is warm out. Throw us a bone here, Mike. We need the leaks. Okay. Here's a little one. Oh, I gotta move it. Didn't position it. Looks really. You see just the handle right now? I'm just gonna minimize this. Put it over here. That's a good spot for it. Boom. This is a render of a model for a weapon. So yeah, we're continuing to implement 3D art matching 2D art. It's already in the game. Well, there's a few people here. I did not invite you all to my birthday party. You'll have to leave out the back. I only have enough goodie bags for 17 people. My mom made me promise I'd give one to my cousins. Don't forget to put at Last Epoch game in the question, but I see this one as well. I guess I'm not reinforcing that very much by seeing the questions, am I? Are there any plans to make gear more impactful over skills? So I think this is a question regarding the implicit power associated from skills sometimes. Not all skills, but some skills. Where the skill itself is providing so much power that you can make it do really good damage without wearing much in the way of gear to synergize with it even. And the short answer is yes. The detailed answer, I don't have details for specifics on there, but yeah, I mean we're looking at some ways we can make adjustments to that. The hitbox for that needs to be bigger. Ooh, another XP one. Come get it. Yeah, like there's a lot that's changed in the power levels in general. We're also looking at how we can make I guess gear scale the power that is granted to you from skills a little bit better. So not necessarily like changing the values of the skills, like I know lots of people come in here and just go more and see what's there and like, you know, look for the damage modifiers and just go ham on those damage modifiers on a lot of skills. And that is the optimal way to do a lot of skills right now. I guess what I'm getting at is not necessarily changing these values too much. And yeah, I think we are looking at changing these values a little bit. So right now, on average, the goal is to make most nodes that are focused around giving you power to give about 10% more power on the build overall. And we'll probably be looking at tuning that down a little bit. I don't know how much exactly yet, or you know what those numbers look like. But yeah, we'll be looking at probably tuning that down slightly, but then also tuning up the way that gear applies damage to skills. And I'm being careful to not say too much because we don't really have details on how we're going to do this yet. We basically just like sat down with our game design meeting and we're like, yeah, we should do this. You know, figure out exactly how we're doing this later. So that might look something like there are nodes. A good example of node is in a Void Knight tree. I think there's a Void Knight one. I think that gives you power per vitality or something like that in a passive or something. I can't remember what it is. But sometimes adding things that scale like that. Sometimes adding things that scale, or possibly also just changing the scaling rate to start slower and ramp faster for just the inherent there it is. So this like 4% increased damage per point. Maybe that changes, so it's like 1% more or something like that. You know, so it like starts slower, but as you get more of it, it actually helps more. I always said more like 8 times trying to describe it. So we're looking at some different ways. Really clear, not specifics. Please don't take any of these numbers as exactly what's going to happen. Just using them as examples to prove a point. But yes, we're looking at ways that we can change the scaling curve of gear to make it be more impactful overall than it is right now relative to the amount of power you're getting from skill points directly. A really long-winded way of just saying yes. It's hot in here. I don't keep saying it. But it's true. No chicken wing challenge today? No. But you know what? I'm definitely going to do that again. My goodness, it was fun. And we seem to have started something in our dev team with hot sauce challenges. I've got... Oh, I could show you a picture of my garden right now. I've got Carolina Reapers. I've got Maruga Scorpions. I've got I don't know how to pronounce it, Butchalopias, something. I think those are ghost peppers basically. I've got habaneros, Thai chilies, and something called a rainbow pepper. And then I've got a bunch of Armageddon peppers in the freezer. So we're gonna make some hot sauce this year. Got a few flavors planned. Learned a lot from last year that I did. I grilling fruit, like barbecuing fruit before you put it on, before you mix it in for hot sauce. Oh my gosh, it's amazing. All the ones that I grilled the fruit first are delicious, and all the ones that I did not grill the fruit first are good, but not great by any means. All right. Are there any plans to make that? Oh yes. Are there any plans to add different mana sustain options to the game, like mana on crit, more options for lower spell costs? I mean, we're always adding more stuff in general to the game. I don't like. It's so hard to answer these questions. Like, I get a lot of questions that are like, "Are there any plans to do this?" No, there's not. That doesn't mean it's not going to happen though. Just because we don't have any specific plans for it right now. And I think this is one of those things that's probably going to be surprisingly heavily affected by multiplayer, actually. And we still want to have that single player balance be fun and engaging. And doing that that balancing work for both simultaneously is really important. So a lot of the balancing stuff we've kind of slowed down on until we have both that we can play with and test with simultaneously. And we're really close to having that ready. It's just, once again, the people who are doing that balancing are the people that are building the systems. So we gotta wait till it's finished first. So maybe. We do really like having the... I guess it's what part of this boils down to, is we do really like having certain skills that are really high mana and you can't spam them. And so what usually happens after we have this... we've got this ability, let's use Glacier as an example. Or Volcanic Orb or Meteor. It's a lot of Sorcerer things. Sorcerer has a lot of tools to deal with this, but let's use one of them as an example of a really high cost skill. And I think there's this feeling of, well, every skill should be spammable in the game. You should be able to take any skill and spam it like crazy. Okay, fine, no problem. You want to spam it, you got to drop something off the skill to make it less ridiculous to spam. Okay, but I don't want to have any nodes that do anything negative. Okay, so we've got a triangle, and you got to pick 2, and you want all 3. But compromises, we're only going to give you 2. And I'm not sure if that's popular or not, but I guess that's where we're going right now. You gotta pick either between high cost and the whole skill, or a reduced version of the skill. Like, I don't know, it's not a triangle, but you know what I mean. Like, you can't have all three. It has to be a compromise somewhere, or else there's just no reason not to take all of it. You know, it's like it's one of those things where there's, in order to have these like decision moments where you're actually like choosing what to put in your build instead of just like, okay, well, obviously the best choice is to take full glacier without the mana cost. There's a lot of enemies here. I'm doing okay though, I think. Very underleveled for this. But that's okay. Because we got a sweet build. But we do, like I guess follow up to what I was just talking about, we do really like having interesting ways to work through the problem, work with the problem, I guess. Love that one. So like having interesting ways to work with that problem is important. So having, I don't have a good example for this one specifically, but having something that is maybe an item that you can suddenly use this all, but it has some other drawback that's not directly related to the skill, maybe. Yeah. Also, just like a side note of I just looked back at the question. There was a like mana on crit as an option. Mana on crit's really dangerous as an affix. Really dangerous as an affix, because it basically means like you could spam Volcanic Orb forever if that was an option. You know, like there would be like not, yeah, that would be having it all. Mana on crit would have like Volcanic, all your abilities have plus 5 second cooldowns. There you go, there's mana on crit, you know, like something dumb like that. Yeah. For the record, do not think that's a good solution, but I'm not sure how you'd fix that to where it's not just obviously the best thing to take. Because part of it is we are really trying to avoid having that just, this is my rotation, I'm just gonna roll my fingers down 1, 2, 3, 4 as we go. Ooh. That was gonna hurt a lot more than it did. Alright, Diablo 3 kept buffing lesser builds until all numbers were super inflated. I hope Last Epoch game will not let numbers spiral out of control less equals more. Yeah, I mean there's a sweet spot for sure of like having things feel really good and not getting out of control like that. So I think one good example of this is like our attribute system. I think is a really good indicator of where we like of why we like numbers sort of in that smaller number set. And even this is a little higher than we initially intended, so we're already kind of getting a little on the high side, and we try and keep it low. Having those attributes under 100 is, in most cases, most non-extreme cases, is generally what we aim for. And I know there's builds where it gets way higher than that. But just like, it's hard to comprehend the difference between when numbers get too big, it makes it difficult to really quickly understand those numbers. Because there's a great video by Tom Scott. He's a British YouTuber who does a lot of math, science, technology, engineering applications for weird things. He does a lot of language stuff too. I don't know. He does a lot of cool stuff. But there's one video he has where it's trying to understand and visualize how big large numbers are, like 1 million and 1 billion, and being able to actually like feel what that is more than just trying to conceptualize it without some sort of physical way to ground that number. And it becomes clear very quickly that like, I don't know, the first time I watched it, it became clear very quickly that I really had very little understanding of how big 1 million really was. Get those XP nodes. I do think, sorry, going back a little bit to the mana question, I do think having more mana generator spells in the game is a good idea. And the ability to like convert things into mana generators, I think, is really neat. I don't know. A lot of uniques in Last Epoch are rather pigeonholed in what skills they work with. For example, the upcoming Rad City Spear has a bunch of lines of text calling out Volcanic Orb, or the Devotion Amulet calling out its best effect only for Smite. Yes. Do you think it's good for the game for many uniques just fit one skill in one build or have no use otherwise? There might be... Okay, so I think that it's really important to have a lot of those. Yes. Is there a point where there's too many of those? Yes. We do really try to, okay, first off, there's quite a few skills. It's what, 120 skills, I think, is the final number when it's all said and done. Maybe it's like 118 or some weird number like that, but it's quite a lot, right? And quite often people have really specific... Because each skill has a really specific skill tree, the things that those skills can do tend to be really specific to that skill. And having a unique that works really well with more than one of those skills can be tricky to do. And we do try and make those whenever we can. Sometimes when we're making a skill, we'll be like, is there another skill, even on another class, that this works really well for, that we can like add this into? Most of the time the answer is no. But the effect of the item is so cool that we're like, oh, let's like get it in, it's gonna be sweet. It's possible we could have swung too far the other way, swung too far into too many specific items. But I don't think that's like something that's unfixable, you know? And the way to fix it is just make more awesome uniques that are a little bit broader, you know? So if we have crossed that line, I think it's fixable. How's multiplayer progress going? Really well, thanks. Yeah. I think there's probably a distinct lack of CTs here right now for a pretty good reason. Had a big breakthrough with Arena this morning. Real happy with that. I'm way too hot. We're opening this window. And this door. So just get some airflow. You see this right here? This is how I feel. Oh, that breeze. Oh, it's nice. Okay, we can keep going. Where were we? How are improvements to combat feeling? Really good. I'm personally looking forward to seeing on-kill visuals based on damage types more. Yeah, there's lots of really cool stuff happening there, and it's a lot. There's a lot of stuff there because it's every time if we say hypothetically we added one new damage type, it like multiplies the number of effects you need by the number of enemies in the game, and there's a lot of damage types. So yeah, there's a lot to do there. Our VFX team just grew by I think double, which is not saying much because it was basically just one person for a long time. And so yeah, we're ramping up that pretty hard, and it feels really good. I don't know. I should get one of those videos to test in sometime. One of those test videos to show because it feels really cool. Will you have some endgame systems like in LE like Paragon and D3 but more extensive? So Paragon specifically is like pretty different than most of the things we have planned. Just because it has I don't know, it has that infinite scaling of the character power. It's an infinite, almost linear scaling of character power. I know it's not quite linear, but like every time you get a level, you get an extra 5 or 1, whatever, I don't remember what it is, 1 strength or 5 strength. I can't remember what the number is. Like your main stat just keeps going up, right? And I think it creates this sort of ethereal, unobtainable, perfect character. You can't really describe what the perfect character is because you can always just get another Paragon level, right? And while, like, you look at, let's look at another game, Diablo 2, for example, while you could, like, realistically, you're never going to make a perfect character because there's always tiny improvements to make on gear that'll make it just a touch better. Technically it's a little bit better. It wasn't actually perfect, but you can define what a essentially perfect character is pretty easily. Or you could at least define what a perfect character is. You could put, this is the best piece of gear you could possibly have. This is the perfect rolled stats on it. This is the perfect character stats you can have. Like, you could define what a perfect character is. And I think having that, like, this is what a perfect character is as a line is actually pretty important. We do, having said that, we do have some systems that we've planned for that to have a little bit bigger tail on them as they are, and also just increasing the character leveling process as well. I think you get to 100 too quickly right now. Partially because 100 is like the amount of power you're actually getting from, let's say, 95 to 100 is so little in your character. It means so little. And I think having other progression systems in the super endgame would be better. Things that don't really start until later on in the game, or if they do start, they start really slow early on. I think that'd be a lot better. Thank you very much for the resub, Heavy. I don't think you missed that much. The biggest thing you missed, I think, is sitting right here. And trace it on my other screen. Wow, this is trippy. Yeah, that's the biggest thing. I traced that pretty good, actually. So I can't actually see that on my screen. But yeah, we do have something for like a little more endgame progression stuff that we've talked about. I don't know if that'll be a 1.0 system. We've got a lot of systems that we're like really passionate about getting in, and like we've ideated and designed a lot of these systems, and we're like we have to get a launch title together. So sometimes we're like, okay, this is not a launch system. Okay, this is not a launch system. But we've got content for a long time to come planned. There's always another system. And hopefully goes without saying, but I'm going to say it anyways. Every one of those gets reassessed and redesigned and reworked on as we're doing it with the current state of the game when we're working on it. So systems, like there are systems that we designed and worked on 3 years ago that never made it into the game, or did make it into the game but changed heavily before they actually came in, because the other things that were in the game changed what needed to happen to make them work. It's crazy how fast things like that evolve, and how one thing can affect another so heavily. This is a funny little blocker on the nav mesh blocker that exists, because it's part of a storyline element and doesn't get removed with the rest of it. I'd call that a bug. Very, very minor bug, but I'd call that a bug. Ooh, this big jump. Being told I should take this image off my screen now. I liked it there. Thank you very much. Jordan! Alright. Another first-time chatter. Please don't forget to put at Last Epoch game in the question, and I'll be happy to answer it. But we've got, is the next major content update planned to include multiplayer or something else? Star chapter, mastery, etc. There will not be any new masteries added in the next patch. I can say that for certain. The plan. I should stop saying these. The plan currently is for there not to be any new masteries added in the next patch. Currently, the plan is to have a very large system added in the next patch. We're still a long ways out, though. Plans change. Who knows what'll happen? I know you expect me to know. I don't. I'm sorry. I'm assuming you guys are doing some tweaks with Manifest Armor soon. Are there any intentions to update the rest of Forge Guard as a whole in terms of power? Smelter's Wrath and Forge Guard, our Forge Strike are very underwhelming at the moment. I don't know if there are. Actually, Reimer would know the answer to that probably a lot better than I would. I know we did. No, it's another skill. Sorry. Short answer is Manifest Armor is probably going to get some changes. I don't know if Smelter's Wrath or Forge Strike have had any in-depth looks at them yet, but I can see them getting some love because they are a little bit on the light side. It's really hard to get, and this goes back to a little bit what I was talking about earlier. The heavy hitting, high cost, long cooldown style skills are so hard to get right, and I feel like we've got a couple that are in a good spot, but for the most part, they're really just on the edge of being good, and they're kind of just okay for the most part, I think. And I'm not really sure what's missing to make them awesome, and I think it comes back to this feeling of wanting it all with the skills, and wanting to have these abilities that are designed as slow, big, heavy hitting skills to become fast, big, heavy hitting, cheap skills. You know, like these, and I don't know. I don't know how to reconcile that really just yet. Because I think part of it is people really don't like seeing that red text on a on a skill really. And recently we did increase basically all of those abilities I'm talking about, like Judgment, Forge Strike, Smelter's Wrath, Void Cleave, Erasing Strike. I know I'm missing one or two. All those abilities in 8.5 got all of their base damages went up, I think, and I could be wrong about some of these. I'm pretty sure that all of their base damages went up, and all of their added damage scalings went up too. But those are things that I could see getting when we do start to look at damage scaling from gear, having that scaling work better for abilities like that as well. So maybe say hypothetically, let's say we did change the default from 4% increased damage per point of strength to 1% more damage per point of strength, and then something like Smelter's Wrath or say Forge Strike is 2% more damage per point of strength or something like that. I don't know, like it's might help with scaling into late game better, because they do have really powerful early games generally. They just don't scale for them very well for the most part. That is actually a nice helmet. Not gonna pick it up. Come on. So many of these. I really should stop picking them up because I don't need them at all. Like, at all. Oh, there's some that are low. Most of them are in the 200s. Oh, that hit flash spine. Come on, turn this way. Yeah, there's. You ever see that? Rhymer, if you're watching. You know, the spine hit flash was the full thing instead of a cutout. My hair is getting way too long too. Way too long. Yes, skill development ideology is good. If you add a beneficial aspect, you should have a compromise, something damage, whatever. Yeah, it's tricky to have like those red mods that those red anything red in the tooltips that show up are just so, I don't even know if there is one. Oh, yeah, like cooldown 2. Yeah, it's just, I don't know. Every time I see one when I'm building a character, it's so hard to. I don't have a good example of one where I wanted to be a better one. There you go. Yeah, like no knockback. That one's not that bad actually, because it's a sweet node. But all those ones where it's like, this is the negative part about it. Like, it sucks. It feels there's a few on Rogue that I really that are near the start. And I think those are the problematic ones. Is the ones that are near the start that are a really big issue. Because you'll see there's like 6 nodes behind it that you want to get to, and you're like, I gotta go through that node that says negative damage, and it just like hurts your soul to go through that negative damage node. Oh, basically had enough. Sweet. It's gonna be the last one. You can always make the triangle feel less like a compromise and more like a base modifier, giving some skill different flavors. Yeah, and I think that actually helps. Is like there's good examples of that. I think in this, for example, right here, where it's turning it from a physical shout Warcry knockback into like a cold breath almost type thing. So that might be an example of it done well, actually. Crit in general is a win more stat. Adding more benefits to crit is just more spiraling way out of control. Yeah, this is referring to the crit mana comment I think I made earlier. The video where he drives certain distances to represent different numbers. Yes, he starts out walking. This is the Tom Scott video I was talking about visualizing large numbers. He starts out walking, and then he starts driving, and he gets to a beach, and he's like, and then if I were to get on a plane and fly around the world 8 times, it's like the last number. You're like, oh my goodness.
You have no chance. Was my faith wrong? Impossible. Pathetic.
I'm not pathetic. Oh, almost died. I think if we do, I think we've got enough stability now, we can just go. I don't know if this has been asked, but is multiplayer next patch or will the patch out sometime soon? I do not have answers for either of those questions. Sorry. I mean, like, what we've said is the next patch would be roughly in and around somewhere September-ish, thereabouts, give or take. We hope, maybe, could change. And it's gonna have some stuff in it, but it won't have new masteries in it. I think that's all the information right there in a nutshell. Not a lot of information, I know. Part of it is just we don't know how well certain things are gonna go that we're working on, and if they go really well, they'll get added to the patch. And if they go really poorly, they won't get added to the patch. Or maybe if they go poorly, we'll delay the patch and make sure that they get added, or things like that. So a lot of the content for the next patch and the deadline for that patch is very much up in the air based on how well things go over the next few weeks. So far, things are going great. And believe me, guys, we are pushing hard for you. A big part of it is, like, we're making this game because we love games like this. And just, like, getting to hop in and play is the reason we do this. And it's the most exciting part about this for us. Can you confirm that the squirrel legendary item is not getting nerfed because like it so much? I cannot confirm nor deny it, but I do love it, and I don't think that it's broken at all. I think it's very powerful. I think it's rare. I think it's powerful. I think it's hard. I think it's really rare to get a really good version of it, and I think that puts it in a pretty good spot, actually. I can see it getting small numerical changes up and down in various categories pretty easily, but I'm very happy with it, actually. I do like this one. It's probably a downgrade. I'm not gonna wear it. We're there. Not wasting a bunch of time. We're going for it. Are there currently any plans to revisit the Abomination skill for Necromancers? I love the skill, but I feel detached from it when I'm using it. Has the team thought about adding skills that make it synergize with the character rather than just seeming like a standalone thing? Yeah, I mean, there was an early ideated version of it. So this is not something that we're planning to add to it, but you want to know about things that we've thought about. So here's things we've thought about. At one point, we talked about having it be like a suit, like a mech suit that you get into. I know that's what people have suggested a bunch, and I never really confirmed that we ever talked about it. But yeah, we talked about it. It's a little ridiculous, and I don't think it would work properly. There's a few other things we talked about. It being able to like take pieces from things that you kill, and it would change its abilities. That was one idea we had at one point. That wouldn't work either. It kind of gets into like headhunter territory a little bit. Okay, Mike, just don't die. If you were gonna die, try not dying instead. It's better. Pro tips. You heard it here first.
Impossible.
I see you corrected your "are" there as well. next line. Yeah, it's Abomination is a really tricky one. It's so big. There's so much going on there. I know Golem has some changes coming down the pipe. I think there are. So basically, I guess here's the general answer for this Abomination question. There's changes coming to every skill in the game eventually. Is Abomination in the lower half of skill qualities right now? Probably. Is it in the lower quarter of skill quality right now? Probably not. So it's not at the top of the list for reworks. We've got a lot of skills to make skill before launch. We've got a lot of skills that do need reworks badly before launch. And it's not high on the list, but everything's on the list. Are FPS better or worse than PoE? It depends. Paragon 5000 is that the cap? I didn't even know there was a cap.
Impossible. Impossible.
Everyone on the prison, let's go! Oops. Let's go. Are there any plans to make the UI customizable? Not immediate plans, no. I know there's certain things that people really like about UI customization, and there are certain elements of our UI that I'm sure that really bother some people. A lot goes into the UI and making it feel and work really nice. I was playing. This is quite a while ago now. I was playing a. I can't remember what it's called, like a classless version of WoW. I hadn't played WoW in I don't know, 10 years at that point. And I joined the raid fight. Like I used to play. Like keep in mind, I used to play WoW to the point where like 8 hours of playing was a day off. That was like okay, I'm gonna take a def. I'm only gonna play 8 hours today, and I couldn't find because there's those little balls that are around the map. For different add-ons and mods and everything, like you can rotate them around the UI. I know this is like a tiny little minor thing, but I couldn't for the life of me find how to go into, using the raid finder, get into a dungeon. And it's just this little like green circle that you click like go to a dungeon or whatever. I don't know what it's called, but it's just like a little button there, and it's like just go to dungeon. And I just couldn't figure it out. And it's like the dangers of a customizable UI. You can hide things that are necessary. You just can't find them anymore. I know that alone is not reason enough not to have a customizable UI, but there are pitfalls apart from just, okay, let people move things. That takes a lot of time and effort to make work, and we're still putting our UI effort into making the base version of the UI. So a customized UI, maybe, possibly sometime in the future. Launch? No, it will not be a launch feature. There's also something to be said about having a game be recognizable by the UI at a glance of what game it is. I don't think that would be enough for us to stop doing it as overall, but it reduces the incentive a little bit, puts it down the priority list a little bit. Wow, he melted. Barely got enough time to use all the cooldowns. Alright, any plans for an additional skill modification system or more extreme skill modification via craftable item modifiers? Wow. Maybe damage conversion, additional projectiles, area repeats, etc. Upside and downside? I mean, I feel like we put things like that in the on uniques for the most part. Okay, are we gonna do a little bit of crafting before we get into this? Let's dump some items. Just drop them on the ground for the most part.
Yes.
Sorry if you really like any of these, and I'm just wasting them. Okay. Do any of these have anything we can do to them? Ward and ailment cleansing on potion use. Let's see what we can get. Void damage. Okay. Yeah, looks like that's basically how we're going. Let's give her. Arbors, for more extreme item stuff, I could see there being a system that does that a little later on. Nothing immediate. As long as heavy hitting skills can't benefit fully from armor shred and res shred, they're just inferior by design. Maybe penetration blessings, so shred can reach 100% pen, but pen blessings gives you like 30% up front. I think, yeah. Do you mean just like that they can't apply it fast enough? Oh my goodness.
Shut up. Do not stand in my way.
because I know we talked about having like ailment application scaling rate similar to added damage scaling system. I can't remember why we decided against that, but we definitely did talk about it and decided against it.
Aid me. This is a mercy. Shatter.
I mean, if I kill you,
Not stand in my way.
what does it say about it being a mercy? Whoa. Oh. Ooh.
This is a mercy. Come, sons of Artor, aid me.
That was close. We gotta stay inside the whirlwind. You guys only have gold res and physical too, yeah?
This is a mercy. Shatter. Do not stand in my way.
I think he's gonna charge. Yep.
This is a mercy. Shatter. Do not stand in my
I really like this boss fight. Come on!
I did what
Nailed
I
it.
must to protect my
Kill steal.
people.
Scrolls were all like, it was my kill. That was mine. I think we're just endurance threshold here. And that's totally fine. Yeah. Also, any news on revisit to the stun formula, the 2 times damage shenanigans? No, sorry, it's not. This is the problem. I did talk to Chi about that as well, and I should write down his answers when you come to me with these questions because he had a good answer for it. Oh yeah, we got it. We've got to turn them all on now. Wah. Empowered online. 2 months free with this free trial. So you're saying new base class without masteries might be the next patch? I need a monk, even D4 drop monk. No, there will not be any new base classes for, at the bare minimum, a year from now. Didn't we get empowered? Did I have to click on it? Am I an idiot? Whoops. This is how infrequently I actually empower models. So I usually change builds on stream before we get here. Okay. Should be obvious that I have to click on this, right? There we go. What are you doing with yourself, Mike? What are you doing with yourself? The game will have seasons? Yeah, we're calling them cycles. Where's the cash shop? Nowhere to be found yet. And for the record, absolutely no pay to win, pay to progress, any of that stuff. Is there any chance of adding sci-fi or cyberpunk themes to LE, considering time travel is the main theme of the game? Yeah, this is one of those things of like, is there any chance? Can we ever have it? Yeah. What is that chance? Unbelievably tiny. I hate closing the door on things like that, but it is, it's I don't know, if we're starving for content in 5-10 years, maybe. It's kind of the same answer I give to just guns in general. I would say we're more likely to explore more of the, because there's still the ancient era still has very little explored in it. So I think we're more likely to explore those themes a little heavier before we go into things like sci-fi cyberpunk. It's pretty at odds thematically. Oh yeah, that's why of course this is a dead end. I do that every time. I know it's there. Just can't help it. And so yeah, like here's a good example. People ask about density. What just happened right there, I think, is just the randomizer getting unlucky and not having that minimum value set. Iris, are any additional skill modifications on craftable items? My thinking is more for enabling odd, weird builds without need for enabling uniques to exist for every possible thing. So, for example, being able to give up a prefix slot to get fire conversion for a given skill and acolyte. Okay, like, I might be misunderstanding a little bit, but that really seems like that's just the role we have for unique items. To me. Like, I think that just goes on a unique. Having it be like a universal thing is not like just having like this can convert any skill to fire, you know, type thing, or something like that is very unlikely going to happen. Partially because of what's required in the, like, just making a single skill convert to fire takes quite a bit. And having there be too many conversions for each skill is something that we do really want to avoid as well. So we really wouldn't want it to be universal. So I don't know. I mean, I swear I'm missing it something. They can't apply it. Period. Wait. Forge Strike and the like can't apply ailments at all? What? I feel like I'm missing something in like 3 conversations. Oh no. Let's scroll back up a bit here. As long as heavy hitting skills can't fully benefit from armor shred and red shred, I'm saying they can't apply it at all. So like, Forge Strike can't apply armor shred? Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay, you want them to die from that big hit, so you don't want to use any other skills simultaneously with it. I understand what you're saying. I mean, not everything can just die from one hit if you're playing a big hit build, right? Like elites and bosses having everything be one-shottable is Like you're probably over leveled if you can one shot anything. Or over geared might be a better way of putting it. And if you are one-shotting everything, why does it matter if it could take advantage of... I'm sorry. I know I'm missing something here, and I don't know what it is. I'm sorry. I'm gonna move on. I'm the wrong side of the screen, aren't I? I think one of the losses big hits have is that penetration debuffs get applied afterwards. Maybe skills could add... Okay, this is the shred, not penetration. Because they do use penetration, but we can't have it apply the ailments before damage is dealt. No. Sorry. The game will have seasons. Yes. I don't know why you tagged me in that, but yes. I agree with your statement. They'll be called cycles, but yes. You're welcome for the gameplay and the feedback. What's the next one? Scrolling. Am I really far behind? Yeah, don't forget to add Last Epoch game to the question, and I will happily answer it. New here, probably a repeat question. Do you all balance around lazy players who don't want a whole bar of active skills? Yeah, I mean, we kind of have a saying when we're designing skill nodes. Sometimes a node will be, quote, for the lazies. And it's... There's a few examples of those here and there. We don't do it a ton. But for example, on enchant weapon, there's an autocast node for the lazies. There's also some nodes that will. I think there's nodes that basically take away the need to use some of the companion ability activated abilities. They're like. That makes you can't activate them, but it does something else. Most of the time, the automation nodes like that, or that remove the ability to activate things, are generally less powerful than other nodes. Not always, but generally. Not about one-shots, but if you have a skill with a 3-second cooldown, you can't stack 20 stacks of shred, and you're waiting for cooldowns applying nothing, it's just so inferior. But you can use another skill in the meantime, right? You could start with something that applies like 4 hits and apply the shreds, and then finish it with the big one. Oh my gosh, I caught up! You know what happens when I catch up. Here's a cool video. Alright, here we're respecking the... we're changing a little bit how the base values for Hungering Souls, the base functionality for Hungering Souls looks. Ooh, a little bit of updates there. Little sneak peek, little sneak. Okay, but if you're gonna use a second skill to apply shred, you lose 1 support slot. Why not play a build that uses 4 supports and 1 damage? Because I don't know, the one that does a lot of damage, the extra one that does a lot of damage on the cooldown ends up dealing more damage, maybe. It might not be perfectly optimal. Maybe it's just cool and you like it. The core idea is basically to have some build enabling affixes in the crafting pool, so that this is back to the item idea that I'm not getting. There's a couple ideas I'm just like not grasping here. The core idea is basically to have some build enabling affixes in the crafting pool, so that those builds don't need full-blown uniques developed to enable them / make them playable. So like having a craftable death seal is converted for fire, for example. That would enable you to play Fire Death Seal builds without needing to develop a Fire Death Seal unique that would probably do more than just convert. To enable weird build variations without needing dedicated unique designs. Yeah, okay, I understand what you're saying. A lot of the more extreme conversion nodes or build changing nodes can't sit in the crafting pool because we can't control what they go with without them being really crappy or having some sort of drawback that goes with them innately. We have tried to actually do this with here, let's just see. There are a few, like here. Yeah, here. Here's a perfect example. This is what you're talking about right here. So Acolyte increase projectile speed with Marrow Shards and Bone Nova. I think this is exactly what you're talking about. Just maybe not as extreme as you'd like, but I think this is what you mean. And yes, we have tried some of these. The bigger ones though, the more extreme ones, generally can't live in the affix pool from a balance perspective. I do love this weapon. I like big weapons apparently. Big hammers, big swords, big maces. You probably got asked this already, but why not just add auto recast as a baseline on certain abilities that players just unlock anyways? Because we're going to change those abilities so that they won't be good to do that for anyways. That's a short answer. Any plans to show love for set items in the same way unique got legendary potential? Maybe. There's something that they need. I have no idea what that is yet. We did just buff a whole bunch of them. We might just buff a whole bunch more of them. Set items are an interesting thing. I was talking to Chi about this last night, maybe the night before, and like, can anyone point me at a game that's actually done, like an ARPG, that's actually done set items well? Like where there are, I'll give you this, where 20% of the sets are done well. Not even most of them, just 20% of the sets are done well. Diablo 2, I don't know, 10% of the sets are done well at most. Diablo 3, I would argue 0% of the sets are done well. PoE doesn't have sets. You know, like, we're running out of options here. I don't know what the solution to set items is. I think there's one out there. We don't really want to do much drastic them until we're confident we have a solution. But buffing some of the later game sets, I think, would be the best thing to do temporarily, at least. I think there's, at least for the time being, going to be quite a few sets that are leveling sets and are just not great at endgame, which is unfortunate, and I don't think you'll see that way forever. I think the big problem with one of the things that quite often gets asked is when I just slap legendary potential on uniques or on set items, because it works. You can just slap LP on them and they're basically the same thing, good to go. The tooltips are already too big. And that's kind of a problem with set items in general. We're still trying to figure out exactly how to fix them. We know there's something wrong. Don't know how to fix them yet. Things are hitting a lot harder all of a sudden. Bothers me so much, that little nameplate that shows up. Oh, 2 LP Bleeding Heart. Not too shabby. Got it. Except that there's no build-up reward, and first thing you want to do, this is the unique affix, basically. Except there's no build-up reward. For the first thing you want to do against enemies is hit it with your big thing. Oh no, this is not. This is about the large hit problem. Feels weak because you need to stack debuffs first. It's disappointing. Why not just stack damage on the non-cooldown skill? Flame Read combo note, for example, sort of alleviates it, but it puts at the end of the skill cycle. Is that a problem? Having to build up to the big thing? Not being able to lead with it? In the situation where you want to use Shred? Maybe it is? I want that health potion, because I'm hurting. What's I'm embarrassed. I feel like there's an acronym that I'm missing here. FOPR. Oh, it's just an extra P, just for example. Okay. I'm sitting here trying to figure out what this acronym is. I'm like, but if those... Yeah, okay, so the big skill has to do more damage than the small skills. Yeah. And maybe they don't right now. That might be the whole problem. Alright, so will full controller support, menus, etc. be in the game? My hand's kind of... so I need a controller most times. Yeah, we're still improving controller support. We want to have full controller support for launch. That's what we're working towards. Unless something goes wrong, we probably should have it. We do have a extendable, fairly universal menu controller system that does work for most menus. It's not hooked up for all of them yet. But no, we should have full controller support, I would expect. I feel like that D2 was in reference to me saying that there are no good items, no good sets in the game. Grim Dawn, I think, is the right answer for the one that just sets the best, honestly. But D2 does not have good set items. D2 has like a handful of okay set items and like 1 or 2 good set items, or like I'll say 3 good set items. I don't know, like they're not good. The set items, they're for the most part like okay starting gear-ish, but like there's almost 0 set items used in in-game builds. Almost there. Like there's 3-piece towels that's used in early farming when you're farming on a Sork. Full IK is okay. There's like IK boots and gloves are sometimes tossed into builds here and there. Am I missing something horrible? I don't think so. Rhymer, you've been typing forever to me in Discord. I'm so nervous what you're gonna send me. Keep going, getting that arena life. I've been living in the arena the last few weeks. Can I ask when the multiplayer beta is possible? I'm sorry, I do not have an answer for you. Set item upgrade shards that locked behind endgame content like corruption tiers or some threshold of shards get upgraded. The set's effect incrementally. Yeah, like We talked about a few different things for set upgrade systems. So there was one that we talked about where the sets, and I still really like this one. I know we decided against it. It saddens me. But there's a few things we talked about. One where, oh my goodness, I'm gonna die here. I can feel it. My death is coming. Where the sets, instead of having like the set requirements having, this was someone's community's idea. I don't know where it came from exactly, but I really liked it. Go squirrels, go! I believe in you. And I realized there's a reason why this doesn't work, and it's having the set bonuses require a certain amount of set power, and having the sets drop with a variable amount of set power, similar to the way the Legendary Potential does. And so early versions of the sets where you drop several pieces of would require the full set to get the full bonuses, but if you get better versions of individual set pieces, you don't need the full set to complete the set bonuses anymore. And there's a lot of problems with this, unfortunately. But there's room for things similar to that, I think. That we can make improvements to the way sets progress and scale into later parts of the game. We'll get out of that. I am shocked that I'm not dead yet. Not quite sure how or why, but we survived. I'll take it. Hey, Master, those things like that where, like powering up the set bonuses, so like having the set bonuses have tiers, and like if the set items had a certain amount of set power, and you could add set power to the item as a bonus from a dungeon, and the total amount of the set power on the set that you had equipped would unlock different tiers of each bonus. So like a tier, we've gone over a lot of these different things, And so like you could have the set bonus could be like +5 strength, and that's the tier 1 version of the set bonus. And then if you had enough set power, that bonus goes up to like tier 2, and the tier 2 bonus is +10 strength or something like that. So it's the same bonus, but it's just a better version of that bonus. So set items could scale further into the game. There's lots of little things that we've talked about with that that would be really cool to do. But all of them seem to have big big problems with them. Saigon set, full silver, passion points. Maybe it's the build. No way. No way, it's the pilot. Just crushing it. We're all shocked you're not dead yet. Ouch! Maybe that makes sense. Lightning Meteor set is your favorite set in the game. You find the staff commonly, and new players try it out and like to push further to scaling. You need the set bonus from the rare helm powering up int on your gear. It's a great in-game build. Yeah, I actually think that's one of our best sets in the game. So I'm glad you like it. And I think overall we're getting better at making sets. We haven't made a lot recently. I think we're kind of waiting to see if we're going to have a big system change for sets before we make a lot more of them. We even had an opportunity to make a set pretty easily with the mountain uniques. There's like 4 mountain uniques that look and theme just perfect together, and you're like, oh, this is clearly a set. Somehow it's not a set. And who knows, maybe if we figure out a way to fix sets, we'll make it one. I doubt it. But, yeah. Oh, I dropped a unique back there. What is it? Ooh. 1 LP Chimera. I'll take it. Don't think they'll take it at the bank, though. 83. We're getting there, boys and girls. Party people. Oh, that target! No. Come on, guys, out of the circle. For anyone who doesn't know, you can press A to direct your minions to move to a set location, which is how I got them all to leave the AoE, just in case. Even though I probably didn't need to. I like the the polymath is one of my favorite ones. It's the all attributes. All right. How's everybody doing? Not great for me. This red drop is rare, the same as Primal Gear for Diablo 3. No, Primal Gear is like a guaranteed perfect. Like Primal Ancients are guaranteed perfect. I guess like, we don't have anything that's like a guaranteed perfect item. But so we have unique items as our sort of like top tier of item that when you combine them with an exalted item of the same type, they turn red and become a legendary item. And so a unique with legendary potential and a purple item. So you need oh, that was a mistake, wasn't it? Why are they still squirrels? Okay, where did the points come from? Here and there. Alright, we'll take it. You need a unique with legendary potential and an exalted item of the same type. Combine them together after completing one of the dungeons, and it creates a legendary item by taking the unique item and pulling the number of stats of legendary potential that it had, in this case 1, from the exalted onto it. It picks a random stat or stats based on the number of legendary potential that the unique has. So if this had 3 legendary potential, it would take 3 random stats. Now the exalted item does need to have 4 stats on it, so we can't use this one, but if we do slap an extra stat on it, we could use it. Like if we just slapped, I don't know, strength. Let's put strength on it. So, and of course I had chaos glyphs on there. Okay, well, that's a terrible item. That's just my fault for being an idiot. But we could use it now. Alder's boots. That's the other set item that's good in D2. That's what, like 10 items total? Out of what, 50 set items? I don't know how many they have. Probably more. Sorry. I absolutely adore D2. Just for the record. It's not a perfect game though. Dig the standing desk, yeah. We can go down. Ooh. We can go up. Ooh. Oh, it goes high. Okay, that's a little, it's making me nervous. We're gonna bring it back down. There we go. They're still squirrels because minions are snapshot and spawning if you didn't know. Yeah. We're working on it, don't worry, that's getting fixed. Yeah. Big bada boom. How to break an item 101 with the guest speaker. The expert mic. Yep. I just thought everyone should see what not to do, because it's best to learn from example of what not to do, right? No one else is going to make that mistake now. Didn't need it anyways, it was a junk item. Huh. Just bought the game about 3 days ago. What's your number 1 beginner tip? Honestly, at first, I would really advise you to just, if you have any experience playing games like this at all, just play it. You should be fairly good to, like, if you've ever played an ARPG before, kind of just go for it and try things out and see what you like and muck about with it. You'll probably be fine to get through the storyline without any following a guide or anything like that. There are some good beginner tips and tricks videos. Maybe give it to level 40 or something to watch one, just so you can get a feel for things yourself first. But and once that's done, if you've picked out something you really want to do, you're like, I really want this playstyle or this archetype, and I'm struggling to make it work, then there's lots of great resources out there. Tons of people making videos. Last Epoch tools, Tunk Labs, great websites for information on like to look up items and stats and gear and stuff like that. Getting a loot filter going is important. They're fairly easy to set up. The basics of. You can just put in little things like maybe hide things that are like once you get to like level 50, you probably won't care about white items anymore. So you just like hide normal items, and that's another show. Hide. Hide, and you just see a little less stuff, you know. Another tip: I would start crafting early. You don't really need to save up your crafting stuff. Just go for it. If you've got an item, it's really easy to just like upgrade the stats on it and just slap extra mods on it. You're like, I am a strength-based character. I can add strength to my gloves. Put strength in your gloves. Oh, it's Rune of Ascendance there. Nice. We can try and brick a whole bunch of Runes of Ascendance and see what happens. That'd be fun. Should we do that? How many do we have? 31 we're sitting on. Resistances are, if you played a lot of RPGs before, resistances are less important to cap in Epoch than other RPGs, but still very good to cap. There's probably like a bajillion other awesome tips that just got posted in chat that I missed. Or should I try and max out resistances 50% enough? By endgame, you should be maxing out your resistances. Look at me not following my own advice. That's probably why I was being hit so hard earlier, but it was a necrotic zone, wasn't it? There's a point where I can't remember what the number is, but there's a point that's pretty high. It's like 175. All resist or something is higher than that's completely pointless because there's like you can get things can apply resistance shred to you that will drop your resistance even lower. And so you can, but that has a maximum it can do, so you can overcap your resistances to a point where it is useful, but it's like really rare that there's even a point to that, so I wouldn't bother. Let's go back and get this one, so I want that experience. Oh, 2 minutes left. This is going to be the last one. Oh yeah, the most important thing, G for Game Guide. If anyone doesn't know, you press G. And it's a lovely game guide. And you can search all sorts of things. You're like, I need help crafting. Oh, there's crafting stuff. Here's an explanation on how crafting works. And affix shards and runes and glyphs. There's all sorts of great information here. You want how ailments work? The whole thing on how ailments work. How blessings, what are those and how do they work? There's a huge thing in here about that. So yeah, there's lots of really great stuff in the game guide on just basic mechanics, terminology. That should be more there. Should have nearby in there. We need to. It's been a while since we've done anything in there. All right, this will be our last zone. We're gonna finish this arena, live or die. Likely die, considering how great I am at this game. These guys are scary. Get him. You can also make minions focus fire with the A key. Just gonna run around and let our minions kill things. My goodness. Oh, come on, yes! I almost died down there. I've got an idea. Let me jump back down there. So good. Come on! The slow stacks that are building up on me. Whew. Thanks to whoever that was. I'm not gonna look. Deal with it. Good try though. Appreciate the effort. I think I might make it out of this alive. I was really hoping I just died right after I said that. Alright. Thank you, everywhere. Just get to the sub too. Dorothy Mantooth. It's a good name. It's a good name. I like that. Alright. That'll about do it for us today. Thanks for coming by, everybody. I hope you had fun. I know I did. We'll see you around next time. Let's go say hi to someone else. Who we got?